From here on in.
Oh, God!
Welcome! Welcome back to JMB on RPGs. Justin M. Bailey here, and where we last left off, we were talking about two very bad men. We were talking about none other than Kefka and Sephiroth, two of the most infamous video game villains of all time. Two men more than capable, more than comfortable even, with committing all sorts of unimaginable acts of wanton death and destruction that once damn near threatened the livelihood of just about every single living creature on their respected planets. Doesn't get much badder than that now, does it? But like we previously already talked about, on the other hand, just because you are not necessarily a flower girl killer extraordinaire or a megalomaniacal mass murderer all covered up in makeup does not necessarily automatically mean that you yourself are virtually incapable of causing all sorts of irreparable harm to everyone around you, your friends, your family, co-workers, classmates, and especially people over the internet every day. Because, let's face it, as most of us already know all too well, ruining and making another person's life absolutely miserable is really quite easy, isn't it? There is little to no makeup or magical powers or even giant-ass katana swords required. You just need to be mean. You just need words, and so with our mean words, we attempt to eviscerate and ruin each other every single day, you bitch. Most of us are not all that nice to each other anymore, are we? Most of us fail to realize the hateful haters we are all on a fast track of becoming in some way or another, just like Sephiroth and Kefka. And that's just plain sad right there. It's sad because we were not meant to be so bad. We were meant to be good. My God, we were meant to be great. And yet what happens, everyone? What happens that so inevitably twists and turns and rots and ruins so many of us at our very cores until there is nothing left of us but a bunch of silver-haired haters and a bunch of dancing mad, self-obsessed, self-destructive, stupid clowns? Well, honestly, it's usually that. It's usually the traumas and the impacts from our own personal past that will almost always, all but certainly, one day spell out our own certain doom for us if we are unable to deal with them, just like in the game Chrono Trigger, just like with the Day of Lavos. Lavos really is one of the most frightening creatures in all of video gaming history. Second it only to one. And it's not just because Lavos is like this prickly, extraterrestrial jack-in-the-box from the 7th layer of hell. It's not just because Lavos is just like the creature from Alien! Except instead of popping out of Chancellor Sutler's chest, it pops out of Mother Earth's chest instead. But what really and truly makes Lavos terrifying beyond all belief is what it represents. And what he represents is that awful, stabbing, unbearable truth that if we are unable to confront and overcome the traumas and impacts from our own personal pasts, we will have no future. End of story! Quite literally, I might add. I know, tough pill to swallow sometimes, but it's true. It's true that no matter how fast any of us think we can run, the past will always catch up to us with the most dire of consequences. In the game of Chrono Trigger, the only way to save the future and yourself is you gotta go into the past. It's the only way to get to the origins and roots of Lavos, and if you eventually want to become strong enough to finally one day defeat Lavos, you gotta keep going into the past, over and over and over again, until everything in the past is finally healed and copacetic, and you and all your playable characters in CT are at their 100% very best! Because everything really needs to be 100% in CT. You can't just go through the main story of that game and go directly to Lavos. 9 times out of 10, you'll just get killed! You really need to complete every single side quest and mission first. You really need to first find a way to help Fiona turn the sunken desert back into a forest. You need to help find a way to set the spirit of Cyrus free. You need to help Robo confront his past in the dark future. You need to find the Sunstone, the Rainbow Shell. You need to beat the crap out of that no-good imposter, Yakra the 13th, and get Melchior to make you all those super cool end-of-the-game items for you. But first and foremost, everybody, most importantly of all, you need to find a way to save Chrono first. universe, which is essentially this nice little metaphor about the importance of saving yourself. You can't expect to ever save anyone or be any good to anyone unless you save yourself first. It's so exciting and rewarding to do all this in Chrono Trigger. It's so exciting how successfully completing each of these tasks in the past has a direct and positive result on the present and one day the future. These are among the reasons why Chrono Trigger is one of the greatest RPGs of all time. But to actually somehow sit down and do this in real life, to actually sit down and somehow try and make peace with your own personal past, that's pretty goddamn tough right there. And painful, too. And it's worth noting that even for the characters of Chrono Trigger, though, unlike all of us, they can all literally travel back and forth into time and into the past at will. Most of them still have some serious troubles in putting their own personal pasts to rest, don't they? For most of the game, Frog still blames himself for Cyrus's death. Luca still blames herself for the loss of her mother's legs. Marl is still estranged and resentful towards her father over the death of her mother from 12 years back. And Magus? Jesus Christ! Poor Magus. At age 10, when the original Mammoth Machine blew up in everyone's faces, as a result, Magus was somehow transported to a timeline that wasn't even his, leaving him with virtually no chance whatsoever of ever getting back home. And if that were not bad enough, worst of all, he also lost his one and only sister and friend, Shala. And just like two other gentlemen we have only just recently discussed, this too eventually made Magus to grow up a little funny in the head. You know, just a little funny. Until he too would eventually attempt to lay waste to an entire kingdom. My God. It's like these three should go out for drinks together sometime. And I'm all but sure that Pokey would fit right in with them too. And hey, can anyone out there tell me the number one thing these four characters all have in common? They all had terrible parents. This shit is not exactly easy, now is it? No! There is nothing easy about this at all. And worse, to all of my younger viewers out there, it does not ever even get any easier with age. It only gets harder with each passing year. But, if we really and truly value ourselves as human beings, if more than anything we do not want to wake up one day in a world of ruin of our own personal design, then we need to find a way. We can find a way, and we must find a way. Right now, we need to find a way to stand up to and courageously face the root of all of our personal problems. Our parents? No. Not our parents at all. But to fear. To fear itself. Fear is what is going to single-handedly ruin all of our lives and our futures, because fear is, in fact, the universal cosmic destroyer. Fear is the ultimate of terrors. Fear is Giygas. And Giygas is fear. They are both one and the same. So, I hope this idea scares you. I hope it makes you want to wet your pants and call for mommy. Because what I'm proposing to you all is, we need to stand up to Giygas. We need to stand up to fear. To fear itself. So can we please all grow a penis? Giygas is undeniably the most frightening creature in all of video gaming history. You know why? Because he literally is more terrifying than a samurai Grim Reaper Superman, a dancing mad killer clown, and even a planet-devouring parasite, all combined. Because, as already stated, Giygas is the fear. He is the living 16-bit embodiment of all fear. You cannot grasp the true form of Giygas' attack. You cannot grasp just what the hell Giygas is. And you always fear what you don't understand, don't ya? You always fear what you cannot grasp. And so, Earthbound is a game all about standing up to fear, isn't it? It's a game about that even when you are nothing more than a fragile little boy, an innocent little child in a world that is anything but, you can still somehow find a way to do it. You can still somehow find the courage to overcome fear and stop Giygas once and for all. In short, Earthbound is about how it can be done. It can be done. You just simply have to believe it can be done. You just simply have to have faith. Oh yes, faith. I said faith. And let me make this abundantly clear that when I say faith, when I drop the F-bomb, in no way am I referring to faith in some god or some religion or some afterlife of any kind that may or may not even be there. No! I am talking about a faith way more important than any of that stuff. I am talking about the most important faith of all, and yet it is simultaneously the most neglected. Faith in ourselves. Faith in ourselves and each other, everyone. That kind of faith, that is the most powerful force in the universe right there. That kind of faith is the ultimate magical cast. It is the ultimate summon, the ultimate PSI rocket attack. And do you know how I know? Because faith is exactly what killed Giygas in the end. Never forget, Giygas wasn't ended by a buster sword, or a gunblade, or a blitzball shooting dodgeball cannon, or a bunch of multi-bottle rockets. Giygas was ended by prayer and hope and faith. Faith in ourselves and each other. By our combined faith. That's what sent him to the grave. Because faith is the opposite of fear. Fear and Giygas are nothing more than destruction and intimidation. Whereas faith is pure creation, imagination, and empowerment. For our entire lives, fear has always told us that we're not good enough. And that in every situation it is best to go run and hide. Whereas faith will tell you, if you just listen to it, faith will tell you you're not good enough, you're great enough. And that you can in fact go out there and kick ass and chew bubble gum. Whichever one you decide to listen to and believe in most, especially in your darkest of moments, that will decide you. It will decide whether you're a hater or a hero. It will decide whether you're a creator or a destroyer. So which one exactly do you want to be? So yeah, all this said, Earthbound is clearly the greatest RPG game of all time. Oh yes, you heard me correctly. I willingly, wholeheartedly admit that it is vastly superior to even my beloved Final Fantasy VII. It is vastly superior to just about every single RPG and video game ever made. Because to play Earthbound is not just to love Earthbound. To play Earthbound is to know what it's like to feel brave, truly brave. To know what it's like to be brave enough to save your own personal world. To stand up to the most insurmountable odds and somehow find a way. Because in Earthbound, as we all know, it is not just Giygas you have to worry about, is it? Or just the monsters or the aliens, but surprisingly, it's just about everybody else too. Just about everybody and their mother comes out of the woodwork to try and stomp you and kick your head in. Even annoying old men, cranky ladies, police officers, preachers, and even dirty, stinky, new age retro hippies. This is unimaginably profound because, trust me, this is also 100% true in real life as well. It is true. It is so true that if you ever dare to leave your doorstep, to go out there in the big, big world to quest, to save your own personal world, to face your fears, to face your past, and to finally become the artist, the inventor, the mathematician, the scientist, the engineer, the writer, the singer, musician, filmmaker, puppeteer, professional wrestler, video game maker, and YouTuber you know in your heart of hearts you can be, everyone is going to try to stop you. Everyone is going to come out of the woodwork to try and stomp you and kick your head in. Just like in Earthbound. But Earthbound shows it can be done. But Earthbound shows it can be done. All RPGs show this. All RPGs show that it can be done. They all show that if we are willing to go out there on our adventure and grind and learn and adapt and work our asses off and believe in ourselves every step of the way, with faith close in hand, just as a warrior would hold his sword, it can be done. You just have to believe it can be done. You just have to take that first leap of faith. You just have to dare to go out there and do it. But, if you're ever gonna do it quickly. Do it now, because time waits for none of us. The future is fast approaching, and spoiler alert, there is a day of Lavos waiting to happen to us all. So basically, what I'm saying to you all is this. Basically, what I'm saying is, if this series has a message of any kind, it's that.
Now! This is it! Now is the time to choose. Die and be free of pain, or live and fight your sorrow. Now is the time to shape your stories. Your fate is in your hands.
And if you're not down with that, there's the door. You bitch. I'm Justin M. Bailey, and this has been JMB on RPGs. Thank you all very much. I hope you all come join me again someday for the epilogue/goodbye episode. But as always, if you like my videos, please subscribe.